Imagine being one of the best strikers in the world. Defenders fear you. Goalkeepers have nightmares about you. You score goals almost every single week. But then someone asks, "So, what's your favorite World Cup memory?" And your answer is, "I've never played in one." Sounds ridiculous, right? But for years, that was the reality of Erling Haaland, a player who could score against almost anyone, a player who was breaking records before turning 25. Yet somehow he had never played in a World Cup. Not because he wasn't good enough, because Norway simply couldn't get there. The last time Norway played in a World Cup was back in 1998, back when people were listening to CDs, back when YouTube didn't exist, back when some of Haaland's teammates weren't even born. Since then, Norway's relationship with major tournaments has been complicated. Every qualification campaign seemed to follow the exact same script. Fans would get excited, expectations would rise, then something would go wrong, and Norway would end up watching the tournament from home, again and again and again. At this point, qualifying for a major tournament was starting to feel less like a football objective and more like a mythical quest. Then came Erling Haaland, a 6'4" goal-scoring machine built like a superhero and programmed to do only one thing: score goals. Lots of them. At club level, everything was going perfectly. Goals in Germany, goals in England, goals in the Champions League, goals basically everywhere. If there was a football match taking place somewhere on Earth, there was a decent chance Haaland had already scored in it. The numbers were becoming ridiculous. Defenders couldn't stop him. Goalkeepers couldn't stop him. Sometimes it looked like physics itself couldn't stop him. Naturally, Norwegian fans looked at Haaland and thought, "This is it. This is the guy who's finally taking us back to the World Cup." There was just one small problem. Football isn't basketball. One superstar can't carry an entire national team by himself. For years, Haaland kept scoring, and Norway kept finding new and creative ways to stay home. It was like owning the fastest car in the world, but somehow getting stuck in traffic every single day. Every failed qualification campaign made the frustration even bigger, because everyone could see the talent. Everyone knew Norway had one of the most dangerous strikers on the planet. Yet the World Cup remained out of reach. Meanwhile, Haaland watched other stars compete on football's biggest stage: Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappé, Harry Kane, and countless others. While Haaland was left wondering what it would feel like to hear the World Cup anthem before a match. For a player of his level, that must have been incredibly frustrating. Imagine scoring 50 goals a season and still spending the World Cup on your couch. At some point, even Netflix runs out of things to recommend. But then something started to change. Norway finally began building a stronger team around him. Martin Ødegaard was becoming one of Europe's best midfielders. The squad was improving. The confidence was growing. And for the first time in years, Norway looked like a team capable of doing more than just creating hope. They actually looked capable of qualifying. As the qualification campaign began, the pressure was enormous. Every Norwegian fan knew this was their best chance in decades, and Haaland played like he knew it too. He scored goals, then more goals, and then even more goals. At times it felt like he had taken the entire nation's frustration from the last 28 years and converted it directly into goals. Defenders tried stopping him. That didn't work. Goalkeepers tried stopping him. That didn't work either. Norway kept winning. The dream that had seemed impossible for almost 3 decades was suddenly becoming real. With every match, fans started believing a little more. The memories of past failures slowly disappeared, and eventually, after years of disappointment, heartbreak, and near misses, it finally happened. Norway qualified for the World Cup. Just let that sink in. An entire generation of Norwegian football fans had never seen their country play in a World Cup. Some fans had literally spent their entire lives waiting for this moment, and now it was finally here. Of course, qualifying is only the beginning. The World Cup is a completely different challenge. Every team is stronger, every mistake is punished, and every player is under pressure. But for Norway, simply being there already means something special. Because this isn't just about football. It's about ending nearly 3 decades of disappointment. It's about proving that Norway belongs among the world's best. And it's about giving one of football's biggest stars the stage he has always deserved. Now the expectations are higher than ever. Norwegian fans believe Haaland can do anything. Need a goal? Call Haaland. Need confidence? Call Haaland. Need someone to save the entire nation? Apparently, call Haaland for that too. The expectations might be getting slightly unrealistic, but that's what happens when your striker scores goals for fun. Now the world finally gets to see Erling Haaland at a World Cup, the tournament he spent years trying to reach, the tournament that always seemed just out of reach, the tournament where legends are made. Will Haaland lead Norway on a historic run? Will he become the greatest player in his country's history? Or will the World Cup prove to be the toughest challenge of his career? Nobody knows. But after waiting 28 years, Norway finally has a reason to dream again. And for the first time in a very long time, Norwegian fans won't be watching the World Cup and supporting someone else's country. They'll be supporting their own. And standing at the center of that dream is a giant striker with blonde hair, a terrifying left foot, and a habit of making defenders question their career choices. Erling Haaland, finally a World Cup player.